During a visit to an antique store, Rachel found a peculiar piece of gold. It turned out that the man who brought it to the shop mentioned it had once belonged to a pirate named Captain Benedict Jameson. He said he had hidden the rest of his treasures on an island. The map was hidden inside a cave that was located on a beach on the same island, but no one has managed to find the treasure yet. Rachel was intrigued, so she called her friend Jeremy and convinced him to set sail there to search for this treasure. After weeks of sailing, they arrived at the island and looked for the cave first. Can you spot it? Here it is. Three different paths within the cave led to the map. Which one should they choose? Notice the blinking eyes of a wild animal waiting for its prey in the shadows of the second path? There is a rather large spider web blocking the third path. That must only mean there's a large spider that made it. So, the safest option is the first path. They arrived at the end of the cave and found 3 wooden boxes. Each had a different map on it. Only one map will lead them to the treasure. Which map should they choose? The area that the first map shows is surrounded by trees. The second map shows an area surrounded by the ocean. The area on the third map is surrounded by mountains. So, since they're on an island, they should choose the second map. On the back of the treasure map, they found a message written by Captain Benedict himself.
Congratulations, traveler. You've picked the correct map. Now you're a step closer to finding the rest of my wealth. But I warn you, the journey ahead won't be simple. You'll have to solve every riddle that I have for you, and only then will you be able to find my treasure.
According to the map, they had to enter the forest. Captain Benedict left another riddle on the map about it.
My friend will accompany you from here on, but first, you have to find the tree that it lives on. Look for a fruitful palm tree. If you try to bite the fruit I'm talking about, you'll break your teeth. I guarantee.
Take a look around. Which tree do you think that the captain is talking about? Some of these trees don't have any fruit at all, so none of them can be the tree the captain mentioned. These trees have bananas on them, but you won't break your teeth if you eat bananas. Then it must be this tree with coconuts, because you'll definitely break your teeth if you try to bite a coconut. When they got closer to the tree, they noticed an engraving on it. It said,
"Look up and find my friend Jonathan the monkey. Take him with you on your journey, because he knows where I hid the key."
Then Rachel and Jeremy looked up and saw 3 monkeys. Which monkey do you think Jonathan is? Notice that the third monkey is holding the same piece of gold as the one Rachel found at the antique store. This guy must have access to the treasure, so he must be Jonathan. Rachel and Jeremy tried taking Jonathan with them, but he refused to even move. How do you think they can convince Jonathan to come with them? Luckily, there's banana trees around, so they should just give him a banana to gain his trust. Jeremy wanted to climb one of the banana trees to pick a banana, but they were all very tall, and it seemed impossible to climb any of them. However, Rachel suddenly burst with excitement after seeing something that would help Jeremy. What did Rachel see? Take a closer look at the trees. One of them has an old rope ladder attached to it. Jeremy can climb up there to get a banana. After Jeremy had picked a banana, Jonathan the monkey got down from the tree to get it. While he was eating his banana, Rachel and Jeremy felt hungry and decided to take a break to eat something too. However, when they reached for the food in their bags, everything was gone. Can you guess what happened? Did you notice something strange as Jeremy was climbing the tree? Let's rewind a bit to show you what happened. The monkeys were stealing all the food from Jeremy and Rachel's bags. Rachel and Jeremy had nothing else to eat other than the bananas off of the trees. But when Jeremy tried to climb up the rope ladder again, the rope broke. Now that they wouldn't be able to pick any bananas, they had to find something else to eat. They walked around and came across a waterfall. Rachel suggested that they catch some fish. Jeremy then caught 3 different fish, but only one of them was safe to eat. Can you tell which one? They should eat the first fish because the second fish has spikes on it, so it's not suitable to eat. The third fish isn't real. It's electronic. It has small cameras instead of eyes. They fell asleep after eating, trying to figure out where the electronic fish came from. The next morning, when Jeremy woke up, he realized that Rachel was gone. Then they heard a man's voice. Jeremy couldn't figure out where it was coming from, but Jonathan the monkey pointed to the electronic fish. The voice said,
I have your friend. Answer this riddle of mine if you want to see your friend again. There's a one-story house in which everything is green. Green walls, green doors, green furniture. What color are the stairs?
Since it's only a one-story house, there aren't any stairs in it. Suddenly, the waterfall stopped flowing, and the cave appeared behind it. The voice said,
Enter.
Inside, an evil scientist was waiting for Jeremy. He said that he was going to give him a chance to save his friend. He took Jeremy to a water tank with 3 different creatures in it. The scientist said,
One of these creatures is Rachel, but the other 2 are not human at all. I will free your friend if you can guess correctly which one she is.
Take a closer look at the second creature. There are definitely human legs covered with seaweed. That must be Rachel. The evil scientist set Rachel free, but didn't let them leave the cave just yet. He showed them 3 gates. If they choose the right one, they'll be free to go. Behind the first gate, hundreds of poisonous snakes are waiting. Behind the second gate, there is a vicious vampire. Behind the third gate, there is a pack of hungry wolves. Which door should they choose? They should choose the second door. It's morning outside, the sun is shining bright, and vampires can't survive the sun. After Rachel, Jeremy, and Jonathan got free, they got back on the trail following the map and arrived at the side of a cliff. There were 3 different bridges in front of them from which they could walk across to the other side. Which bridge should they choose? The wooden bridge looks very old. It won't be able to hold their weight. Even though the metal bridge looks sturdy, it's very narrow and it has no railings. They might lose their balance and fall. So, they should choose the glass bridge. As they continued their journey, they walked into a swamp without noticing, and they got stuck in it. There were 3 ropes hanging from a tree, with which they could pull themselves out. Which rope should they choose? The first and the third rope are no ropes at all. One of them is a snake and the other is a tiger's tail, so they should choose the second rope. After they saved themselves from the swamp, they were finally able to make it to the last destination that was marked on the map. There was a trap door in the ground. They had to go through it, but it was locked with a 5-letter combination padlock. However, Captain Benedict left a clue on how to unlock it in his notes, and the clue was 3, 8, 5, 19, 20. What do you think it means? Each number represents its respective letter in the alphabet. The third letter of the alphabet is C. The 8th letter is H. The 5th letter is E. The 19th letter is S. And the 20th letter is T. So the passcode is the word chest. Once they opened the door, they saw a staircase leading to an underground room. When they entered it, they found 3 different chests. Only one of them holds the treasure. Which one is it? Can you see the ants coming in and out of the first chest carrying small pieces of food? And a sticky, slime-like substance is oozing from the third chest. It must be filled with whatever that is. But there is a golden reflection coming from the second chest. That can only mean the gold is in there. They left the room with the treasure chest. However, the chest was locked, and the map didn't have any more notes or directions on it. Jonathan started pulling Rachel's shirt as if he wanted to say something. Then, she remembered Captain Benedict's previous note.
My friend Jonathan the monkey knows where I hid the key.
So she and Jeremy started following Jonathan. They arrived at a beautiful garden with 3 statues. Each statue was holding a key, and only one of them would open the treasure chest. Which one should they choose? Take a closer look at the treasure chest. The lock of the chest has a little emerald on it. The first key has a ruby on it. The second key is decorated with an amethyst. And the third key has an emerald on it. Since it matches the lock, this must be the key they should choose. Take a look at your ears. Aren't they amazing? An average human ear hears frequencies from 20 Hz to 20 kHz. But each person is unique when it comes to the functioning of our sense organs. Some of us struggle to hear neighbors whispering just behind the door. Meanwhile, rare lucky persons have a natural absolute pitch. They can recognize any note in any octave. We suggest you take these cool hearing tests that will help reveal your hidden hearing superpowers. Yes! First of all, let's check where you're currently standing in the frequency spectrum. Put on your headphones and make sure you're in a quiet place with no background noises. If you're surrounded by people, ask them to stay quiet for the next minute. We'll travel across and beyond the human audio spectrum and play some sound frequencies a human ear usually can't perceive. As soon as you notice that your ears begin to hear the sound, stop the video. The number you'll see on the screen is your current result. Ready? Let's go! Great job! Well, are you surprised by the result? If it's higher than average, congratulations! But if not, don't worry. The older people get, the harder it becomes for them to hear high-frequency sounds. This may reduce the ability to hear bird songs and even some consonants like S, H, or F. If the result is very bad, try this test again. Chances are that your headphones can't play the invisible frequencies properly. Or maybe the sound was off at your computer. But if you're perfectly sure that your gadgets are fine, perhaps it would be wise to see a doctor and check your hearing. Now you know your hearing's range. But guess who can hear beyond these limits? Bats, pigeons, elephants, dogs, dolphins, and some other animals. But who do you think is the best listener in the world? Please welcome our champion, a moth. Researchers claim that moths can hear better than anyone else in the world. One study showed that the greater wax moth, also known as Galleria melanella, is capable of hearing frequencies up to 300 kilohertz. It means that their hearing is 15 times better than humans. And now, let's go ahead and check your potential to develop an absolute musical pitch. This rare superpower is basically the ability of a person to identify or recreate a given musical note without the use of a reference tone. Some of the greatest classical composers, including Beethoven, Chopin, and Mozart, used to have this ability, and it's not so rare in the modern music industry.
Oh yeah.
Studies based on a survey of more than 600 musicians showed that the older people were when they started training, the less likely they were to gain perfect pitch. Meanwhile, the majority of polled musicians who began training by the age of 6 used to have it. And among those who started music classes before the age of 4, some 40% had perfect pitch. Also, you're more likely to develop this ability if at least one of your relatives has it. So, are you ready to challenge your ears? You're going to need to put on your earphones once again. Take a deep breath and don't forget to count the right answers. Here's a small version of a classic piano keyboard. Let's go ahead and refresh your memory. This is what the 12 notes sound like. We'll use this random music to confuse your perception just a little bit. And let's begin the quiz. Try to guess this note. Well, any ideas? It was G. What about this note? C. Focus your ears and let's listen to the next one. Well, it was A. What about this sound? Can you guess it? F. Let's go ahead and recognize this note. A once again. And what can you say about this one? That was F sharp. Here's the next sound. Can you guess the note? B. Any idea what it might be? A sharp, also known as B flat. Next sound. Can you spot the note? C flat. Can you identify this one? G again. Well done. If you've guessed more than 7 notes correctly, maybe it's time for you to run to the nearest musical school and become a famous musician before it's too late. Meanwhile, if your result is between 3 and 6 notes, your musical ear is still quite good. And if you didn't guess a single note, don't be upset. Regular training gets water from a flint. Our next test will reveal both your hearing skills and your knowledge of musical instruments. This game is very easy. Listen to the audio carefully and try to guess the instrument. Don't forget to calculate all the correct answers. Here's the first sound playing. Does it seem familiar? What do you say? It's a French horn playing. What about this melody? Sitar. Next audio. Any ideas? Steel pan. What about this one? Acoustic guitar. Great job! Let's go ahead and spot this instrument. It's a flute. Next audio. Does it sound familiar? Ukulele. Let's explore this mysterious sound. It's called the rain stick. Next instrument. Any ideas? Marimba. Here's the next melody. Does it seem familiar? Organ. Next instrument. Does it sound familiar? Cymbal. What about this one? What do you say? Acoustic guitar? Nope, banjo. You should recognize this one right away. Any ideas? Violin. What about this instrument? What do you say? Just kidding, it's the sound of a purring cat. Let's go ahead and investigate this audio. Harmonica. Any idea what this might be? Kazoo. It looks like a funny little whistle. Next instrument. Have you guessed? It's a lute. What about this one? Maybe electric piano? Nope, it's a harp. Next instrument. Any ideas? This beautiful thing is called cabasa. Next audio. Does it sound familiar? It's a clarinet. You're doing great. We're almost at the finish line, so stay focused and let's listen to the next one. It's a bass guitar. Next audio. Does it sound familiar? Piano. What about this instrument? This sound is called throat singing, and it's made by a singer, not by a musical instrument. Next audio. Have you guessed? Castanets. Any idea what this might be? This is the sound of water glasses. And finally, can you spot this instrument? Does it seem familiar? It's an accordion. And now, let's calculate your score. If you've answered all 25 questions correctly, congratulations, you're a genius. If your score is between 17 and 24, well done. Your ears and knowledge are brilliant. You're either involved in the music industry, or you should think about doing so. If you gave from 9 to 16 correct answers, you're doing well. While listening to music, you're probably good at distinguishing the sounds of different instruments. And if you gave less than 9 answers, perhaps it's time to expand your knowledge in this field. You'll be surprised by the variety of musical instruments. In fact, nobody knows for sure the exact number of musical instrument types all over the planet. You can find more than 500 titles in various encyclopedias, but it's far from the actual number. After all, any musical instrument has dozens of different modifications and hundreds of manufacturing variations. To make the process easier, the instruments traditionally fall into one of 6 major categories, depending on the sound source: woodwind, bowed strings, brass, percussion, keyboard, and the guitar family. We're aware that musical instruments have been entertaining people for ages. But what is the oldest musical instrument in the world? So far, this honorary title belongs to the Neanderthal flute. It was made around 60,000 years ago. Contemporary musicians have reconstructed this instrument, and its sound reminds of the modern bamboo flute. But music is not only an entertaining tool, it's also very helpful when you want to relax or focus on your work or studies. The 432 Hz frequency is considered ideal because it resonates with the Schumann resonance of 8 Hz, and it's known for its deeply calming and comforting effects. One study from Italy showed that music tuned to 432 Hz slows down the heart rate when compared to 440 Hz. So be careful with what goes into your ears.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.